The story opens with a schoolgirl named Gu-hee searching for something in her locker when a boy comes there. He slams his hands on the locker, trapping the girl in, and asks her if she likes him. He continues that if he drinks the banana milk, will it make them a couple? And then, without waiting for her reply, he takes out the milk from her locker and drinks it in one go. Gu-hee narrates that this is where her first love story starts, and that day was the first of her being in a couple with the boy, Young-woo. Time passes quickly, and on their 100-day anniversary, the couple is sitting outside on the bench on school grounds. Gu-hee gives Young-woo his present, hundreds of paper cranes that she made herself. Young-hee doesn't seem very invested in the situation, as he casually asks if it has already been 100 days. He gets a little excited when Gu-hee says that she has another gift for him and quickly says that he forgot about the anniversary since he was so busy with exams. Gu-hee gives him a box of shoes, saying that she saw it on his Instagram and that he wanted these. Young-hee happily wears the shoes, commenting on how they fit him perfectly. He is still looking at his shoes when Gu-hee says that she heard that a person runs away if you gift them shoes, but he can't run away. Young doesn't pay her any attention and just comments on how amazing the shoes are. On the last day of middle school, they are standing in the corridor when Gu-hee says that it would be nice if they could go to the same high school, and it is unfortunate that they can't do so. Young comments that it is not that bad in reply, to which Gu-hee says that since they are going to attend different high schools, he can't betray him. Young casually says that it will not happen. Gu-hee then says that they should take a picture on their last day, and just as she takes out her phone, Young-hee calls all of their classmates to join in their picture, much to Gu-hee's disappointment, but she doesn't comment on anything. To Gu-hee, her first love at the age of 17 was as sweet as honey. The scene changes to her house, where Gu-hee is at the dining table with her mother and her brother. She raises her hand to take the food, but her mother slaps her hand away, reminding her that her brother will be the first one to eat. Gu-hee is angry at that and complains that she also likes yellow corvina, and her brother is not the only person with a mouth. Her mother is unfazed by her whining and says that she is not favoring her son over her daughter but is just investing in her retirement plan since her son is the intelligent one and will bring her more allowance. Gu-hee goes silent as she narrates that her mother, my son, has unlimited love for her son, and she may be able to live without her husband, but she can't live without her son. Her mother, my son, continues that if she thinks this behavior is unfair, then she should raise her high school score by 20 points. Just then her father enters the house, commenting on how people carelessly throw trash away, and without him, this neighborhood will be a dump. My son says to her husband that he should go back to their restaurant since they are going to get a lot of delivery orders soon, but he just ignores her and keeps talking about trash. This also gets him scolded by my son as she tells him not to talk about trash while they are eating. Gu-hee again narrates that Nam Hyun, her father, is her only supporter, but he has no power and is a pushover. She comes out of her thoughts when her mother tells her to go and help her father with deliveries. Gu-hee complains again, but her brother Jiun is sitting there without any trouble, and her mother says that considering her bad grades, she will have to take care of the business in the future, but if she doesn't want to do this, then it's fine. My son turns to her son again, feeding her with love, while Gu-hee narrates how her brother Jiun attends a prestigious medical school and is my son's pride and her enemy. She then introduces herself, saying that she is a 17-year-old who is a pushover and might as well not exist in this world. Later, a lot of girls are sitting on the stairs of an apartment building owned by Yoon-woo, a member of a famous boy band named Astro. Just then, Gu-hee comes there to deliver some chicken, but suddenly the door of the apartment opens, and all the girls start rushing inside, and Gu-hee gets squished by the stairs. Her misfortune continues as the next day, when she takes the school bus in the morning, her card gets declined. The driver asks her to get to the side and let others pass. Luckily, a boy comes forward and says that he will pay for 2 people. This momentarily excited Gu-hee as she thanked the boy, but he coldly told her that he was paying for his friend and then moved to the back of the bus. Gu-hee notices that he is wearing the uniform of her school and goes to ask for his help. She asks him to pay for her fare, saying that she will repay him soon, but he refuses to help her. Gu-hee dejectedly goes back to the front and asks the driver to let her pass this once, saying that she forgot to reload the card. Before the driver can ask her to leave the bus, the boy comes there and pays for her fare. Gu-hee is left standing there, embarrassed by the situation, and silently curses the boy who could have paid earlier instead of embarrassing her like that on her first day of high school. When she finally reaches the school, a senior girl stops her and asks her why a freshman is coming to this school. Gu-hee explains that she is a freshman, but just then she looks down and notices that she has worn her old uniform. Gu-hee gets worried, thinking that she will get punished by the seniors who are already starting to make fun of her. A boy comes to her rescue as he tells the girls to go easy on her, as she must be nervous on her first day, and tells her to wear a spare uniform that she will find in the auditorium. Gu-hee is walking in the corridor, telling herself that it is fine since the humiliation could be worse than this. She keeps encouraging herself, but as soon as she gets into the class, she bumps into a girl from her old school. Gu-hee is shocked to see the girl, whose name is Jiun, and she is her enemy from middle school. Gu-hee is frustrated by the situation, as she just wanted to have a fresh start but has to deal with her old classmate here. She remembers how in middle school, Ga-yoon took her notebook home, and when she confronted her the next day, Ga-yoon casually said that she forgot to bring it, not caring how it would affect Gu-hee's grades. In the present, Gu-hee approaches another girl and introduces herself. The girl says that her name is Duck-hee, and they start conversing casually when Gu-hee asks Duck if she is a fan of Yoon-woo after seeing his picture on her desk. He asks her if she is a fan too, but Gu-hee casually replies that she just knows him since he visits their restaurant often and they also have his autograph. This excites Duck-hee, and she instantly asks Gu-hee to be her friend. Suddenly, the door to the classroom opens, and a boy walks in, and the girls instantly start murmuring about how handsome he is. Gu-hee turns around and is surprised to see the boy from the bus entering the class. She doesn't understand the students' excitement about the boy and asks Duck about it, who tells her that he is Shin Jae-hoon from Biki Middle School and everyone around this neighborhood knows him. Their first class is with their homeroom teacher, Young-ah, who gave them a lecture on basic manners and how they should help each other during high school. After their first class, Gu-hee is sitting in the cafe with Duck and is introduced to the most famous club of the school, HIVA, which gathers all the children of the wealthy, congressmen, professionals, etc. and trains them to become global leaders. Duck tells her about Han Yu-ra, the leader of HIVA, and other members of that group. They watch as Yu-ra approaches Jae-hoon and leaves after saying that she will see him in the meeting. Jae-hoon's friend is envious of his friend's popularity as he is well known among seniors. Just then, he notices Gu-hee and tells Jae-hoon about her, but when he waves at her, she quickly looks away, completely ignoring them. After lunch, Duck and Gu-hee are watching a group of boys play basketball when Gu-hee comments that she doesn't understand what is special about Jae-hoon since he doesn't look like a nice person, but people still like him. Duck quickly depends on him, saying that even though he is not as handsome as Yoon-woo, he is still an A-lister. Listening to her, Gu-hee says that her boyfriend is more handsome, completely shocking Duck with the fact that she has a boyfriend. Gu-hee shows her happily a picture of her with Young-hoon, to which Duck comments that she is very clever. After school, Ga-yoon asks Gu-hee to do chores at her place, and Gu-hee can't bring herself to refuse them. That night at their restaurant, Yoon-woo comes in with her brother, who is Yoon-woo's friend. The family happily welcomed him when he came to their restaurant after a long time. Gu-hee's father rushes to bring him food while he signs autographs for their shop. Soon their food is served, and as Yoon-woo is eating, Gu-hee tells him how he is very popular in her class, and her friend Duck wants to be his wife in the future. She asks him if she can tell Duck about him being their friend, but Yoon-woo refuses, saying that she needs to keep this fact hidden. Yoon-woo asks her about her life and is surprised when he finds out that she has a boyfriend. Gu-hee is happy with how King Yoon-woo is and is thinking about how he would have been her first love if, in the past, they hadn't had an unpleasant accident about the bathroom. In the present, Young-woo keeps ignoring her messages and even changes his profile picture to one of a couple holding hands. Later that night, she goes to deliver chicken somewhere and catches a glimpse of Young-woo with another girl, but before she can confirm if he is really Young-woo, he has already disappeared. The next day at school, Gu-hee shows Young's profile picture to Duck and asks her opinion on it. Duck says that it must mean that he found his one true love. This shocks Gu-hee, and despite her hesitance, she asks Duck's help in stalking her boyfriend. Duck easily finds where Young's studies are, and that night they go to confront him. They catch Young outside his academy, and Duck forces Gu-hee to talk to him. When she goes to him, Young refuses to answer any of her questions and instead calls her a stalker in front of his new girlfriend. When she tries to stop him from leaving, Young pushes her down and leaves from there. Gu-hee just sits there crying, oblivious to the fact that Jae and his friend were watching the scene all along. She keeps crying, complaining to Duck about how she delivered so much chicken to buy Young those shoes, and he gave her nothing in return. Duck gives her a highly caffeinated drink to comfort her, and in her sorrow, Gu-hee drinks the whole glass in one go. Duck drops a sick Gu-hee at her house and quickly leaves from there, narrowly missing Yoon-woo, who has come outside to take Gu-hee. At Gu-hee's home, her brother jokingly asks her if she got dumped by her boyfriend. This triggers Gu-hee as she starts crying and reveals everything that happened earlier that night. The next morning, Gu-hee is very embarrassed when she remembers the events of last night, so when Yoon-woo brings her water, she pretends that she is still sleeping. After he leaves, she picks up her phone, where she receives a missed message asking her to join the app called Revenge Note. The next day, Gu-hee is sitting sadly in her class when Duck taps on her arm and asks her if she is okay. Duck asks her to not drink alcohol in the future since her tolerance is really low and gives her banana milk, reminding Gu of her boyfriend, but she doesn't say anything and silently picks up the milk and turns around in her chair. Just then, Ga-yoon comes there and asks Gu-hee if she was close with Young. Gu refuses, saying that she wasn't close to him in reply, to which Ga-yoon says that then it will be okay if she shows her this. She then opens Young's Instagram account and shows her a picture of him holding a lot of paper cranes. Gu-hee remembers how she spent a lot of time making those paper cranes. She comes out of her depressing thoughts when Ga-yoon comments that Young is a leech and feeds on easy girls. She tells her friends how he tried to seduce her and even bring her gifts, but it was obvious that he was recycling the presents he got from someone else. They keep talking about how Young is very evil, and the girls who date him must be very desperate. Not being able to take this anymore, Gu leaves the classroom and goes to a secluded place where she opens her phone, where she again has a message asking her to join Revenge Note. This time she opens the link, and even though she is not sure if this is going to work or not, she decides to try it and writes Youngwoo's name as a target. In the meantime, Young is eating with his friends when he receives a message that he was selected as a target for revenge, but he doesn't pay it any mind, thinking that it must be a scam message. The bad things start to happen to him as he first burns his mouth with hot food, and then when they are about to go out of the restaurant, his shoes have disappeared, forcing him to wear plastic bags on his way to the academy. It doesn't stop here, as later, while sitting in a class, he receives a message that he is chosen as the winner of an event and will get chicken as a reward. He is very happy to see this, so when the chicken is delivered to them soon, he happily eats it with his friend, not caring to see if it is clean or not. Soon after he finishes eating, his stomach starts to growl, he doesn't get a chance to leave the classroom, and he poops in his pants. That night, Gu is sitting in her bed when she receives a message from the person who sent him the humiliating pictures of Young in his class. The article about Young has been posted on the internet, and students are commenting on how disgusting it is. Gu-hee is confused to see this, but soon he receives a message on her phone that says that her revenge has been complete. This worries Gu-hee, as she can't understand who would do something like this. The next day, she deletes her Instagram account, which has a lot of pictures of her with Young. Later, she is standing in her bathroom, brushing her teeth, while thinking about how it doesn't make sense that she submitted a name to the revenge note, and all this happened after that. She is sure that it must be someone who knows her since they took revenge on Young for her. In the morning, she is sitting in the class while seeing Duck furiously typing on her laptop. She asks her friend what she is doing, to which Duck replies that she is making a database of Youngwoo's quotes so it will be easy to find them all. Remembering something, Duck says that she heard Gu's brother last night and his voice resembled Youngwoo, but Gu quickly says that they sound nothing like and starts looking through one of Duck's notebooks. She is amazed by how good her friend is at sketching and comments on how her hands are like garbage since she can't do art like this. She is more surprised when Duck shows her a perfectly edited picture of her with Youngwoo, which makes Gu wonder if her friend is the mastermind behind the revenge note. Later, they attend the gym class today, where they have to play a game of dodgeball. Gu-hee is annoyed when the teacher pairs her up with Jiun and warns him in advance, but he just tells her to stay behind him all the time. Gu-hee follows his instructions and keeps hiding behind, but when only 2 teams are left and Gu's team has to face Duck's team, she decides to jump in the game as they make fun of her. She comes out from behind Jiun at the last moment but instead gets hit by the ball in the face and faints on the spot. After the game, Duck and Gu go to a restaurant for food. Duck looks guilty as she treats her friend as an apology for hitting her in the face. Duck tells Gu-hee how Jiun picked her up after she fainted and suggests that he may like her, but Gu-hee denies her, saying that she is just thinking like a crazy person. Just then, Jiun and her friend come into the restaurant and sit on the table in front of them. Gu starts to blush a little when she notices Jai staring at her and is thinking that he might actually like her, but she is embarrassed once again when he signs her to move aside, saying that he can't see the menu. That night, a group of high schoolers who call themselves zombies were standing in the park, bullying some weak students to pay them. Gu-hee's father, with another guard, sees his situation, and ignoring his colleague's warning, he decides to medicate in the situation. He scolds the students for misbehaving like that, but they instead start beating him up. The other security guard calls the teachers, rushes there, and takes the students away. Gu also comes on the scene and is worried to see her father injured, but he doesn't tell her what really happened and says that he fell. The next day at school, Ga-yoon and her group bully Gu-hee again and force her to buy them food. In the class, Ga-yoon approaches Jae-hoon, asking him to join the Hiva Club, but he coldly refuses. Gu-hee brings snacks for them from the store, and after coming back to the class, she tells them that she brought them in Ga-yoon's name. Meanwhile, the zombie group is forced to do the cleaning at school, and while they are working in the garden, they notice Gu-hee passing by. They remember her from last night and call her over to them. They take her into an empty classroom, where they make fun of her name, and then ask her if their chicken restaurant is doing well these days. Gu-hee is surprised that they know about her restaurant. The leader of the group tells her that they owe her father since, because of him, they are in a lot of trouble. Gu-hee is surprised to find out what really happened last night. The boy says that she should apologize on her father's behalf. She quickly apologizes to them, saying that her father is nosy, but they are not satisfied with her apology and say that she should apologize properly and send her to buy them food. Gu-hee is standing at the cashier after getting all the items and is shocked when they tell her that her total is 37,000 won. Not having this much money, she asks the cashier to let her go this time since she has an emergency situation and promises that she will pay back soon, but they refuse to help her. Just then, a senior named Jiun comes from behind and pays for her food using his card. She is confused by why he did that, but Jiun assures her that it is fine and she can pay him back. She thanks him and goes back to the school, where zombies force her to pick up the weights while continuously making fun of her. One of the girls forces her head back as they ask her to make funny faces and forcefully takes her picture. They post her pictures online and then let her go after telling her to come quickly whenever they call her. Later in the class, Gu is mindlessly cleaning the blackboard where she made the cartoons of the zombie group and wrote curses on it. Duck approaches her and asks her what happened. After some hesitance, Gu-hee tells her about everything. Duck is worried to hear this, as she comments on how zombies really hold grudges and says that Gu-hee messed up with the wrong people. In the coming few days, their restaurant business starts to go bad as a lot of people order for deliveries, but when Gu's father goes to deliver the chicken, no one receives it. Some people have left bad reviews about their restaurant online, which really affected their business. Ji comes back from school to see her mother extremely worried, and it raises when her father comes back with all the chicken he had taken to deliver. This causes an argument between his parents that irritates an already worried Gu, and she shouts at her father that he is stuck in this situation because of him. She is arguing with her parents when Yunwoo and her brother come in. Yunwoo takes her to the side and asks her what happened, to which Gu-hee replies that she just wanted to live a peaceful life, which didn't happen because of her father. Yunwoo shows her the pictures that the group has taken of her and asks her if they have something to do with her breakdown. Gu-hee starts crying after seeing pictures and mumbles that she didn't want to take them, and they just forced her and threatened to not tell her family. Her brother was listening to all this through her door, but before they could spot him, he moved away. Later, Yunwoo and Gu are standing outside on the road, and Gu asks her not to tell her parents this since she doesn't want them to worry more. Yunwoo promises not to do this and then gives her a hug, asking her to tell him if something bad happened. Unbeknownst to them, someone has silently taken pictures of them hugging. That night, Gu-hee again receives a message from Revenge Note, but she doesn't use it, not feeling good about it. When she comes back from school the next day, 2 officers from the Ministry of Food are raiding their restaurant, and despite their protests that the restaurant can't be closed without the results of an investigation, if their chicken food poisons someone, the officers seal the place. The zombie group continues to bully her at the school, asking her to feed them at her chicken restaurant, and when she refuses, saying that their business is not going well, they get angry and almost hit her. Jiun defends her bravely in front of the bullies, and they soon run away after hearing a teacher coming her way. Gu-hee is not happy with his help, as she tells him not to interfere next time because it will only make the situation worse for him. That evening, Gu-hee and her parents visit the hospital, where the boy who got food poisoning is admitted to clear up all the misunderstandings. The boy's mother started shouting at them as soon as she saw them and threw an orange at them, injuring Gu-hee's father. They leave the hospital quickly, and as my son takes her husband to the car, Gu-hee goes to a nearby store to buy water for her father. There, she overhears the zombie group talking to the boy, who was pretending to be patient. Theme Thatapilly discuss how his acting was very good and Gu-hee's business will soon run out of business. Gu-hee is furious to hear how the group has planned all this against their family. Just then, she receives another message from the Revenge Note, but instead of using it, she runs outside to give water to her parents. She sees her mother tending to her father's wounds, which keep swelling more. Her parents are worried about what they are going to do now, as there is no way for them to save their family business. Finally, deciding on something, Gu-hee turns to the side and writes the zombie's name on the Revenge Note. She doesn't want the group to harm her father anymore and is satisfied when the app tells her that they will proceed with her revenge. At a snooker club, the group zombies is hanging out together when the leader receives a message that they have been selected as the target of revenge. He thinks about it for a while, considering if someone is trying to start a fight with them, but just leaves the message and instead goes to play snooker with his friend. He takes his first shot, but his hand slips and the ball hits his friend square in the face. He quickly apologizes, but they start to blame him for not being careful. Soon they all walk out of the club and go to their bikes, planning to go to some restaurants. They wear their helmets, but to their shock, some eggs and other stuff pour on their heads from the helmet. They keep shouting, disgusted by the situation and not understanding who would do something like that to them. The next day, they barge into Gu-hee's class, and a girl named Na-rai approaches her, saying that she should show up immediately when they call her. Gu-hee replies that she was busy, but they just laugh at her statement and then ask her to meet them as soon as her class is over if she doesn't want to get beaten up in front of her friends. They then turn toward Jiun and ask him to join her, and if he doesn't, they will just end up bullying Gu-hee. Soon as they leave, Duck rushes to Gu-hee and shows her a video of zombies beating up her dad the other night. The video goes viral with all the students' comments on how brave the man is who stood up against zombies, and they must get arrested now. Later, the zombies are standing in the principal's office, who is talking to some reporter on the phone. She says that it is their school's uniform that students are wearing in that video, but still, the reporter should investigate the situation further before coming to their school. She doesn't get any reply as the person from the other side hangs up the phone. The principal then turns toward the zombies, angrily asking them what they are going to do now that the video is blowing up on the internet. Another teacher adds that it is too late to solve this now, and their lives are over. After their meeting with the principal, the zombies are standing outside, planning to get out of this situation somehow since they don't want to go down like this. Just then, Gu-hee comes there, and the boy furiously says that she is going to die today. Meanwhile, Jiun is going back home with his friend when he receives a picture of Gu-hee on his phone with the message that if he doesn't want her dead, he has to come to them. His friend sees the message from his shoulder and asks Jai if he is going to go there, but Jai just says that there is no reason for him to go there. He says that they should leave for the academy, but he changes his decision at the last moment and runs back towards the school. Meanwhile, zombies are still waiting for Jiun to show up and are discussing whether he will come to save Gu-hee or not. They discussed if he could be the person who uploaded their video of beating Gu-hee's father online. Gu-hee asks if it was really her dad in that video, and when they confirm it, she awkwardly asks them if they knew what that did to her family. They just tell her to be thankful that she is still alive. Before that boy can say something else, a bag comes from behind and hits him in the back of his head. Shocked, he turns around, only to find Jiun and his friend marching toward them. Zombies quickly get ready to retaliate, and a fight breaks out between the two groups. Jiun and his friend easily beat up the group and quickly ran to the side, just as the police cars were there. Zombies try to say that they did nothing and shouldn't be arrested, but the cops just shout at them to stay quiet and force them into the police cars. Jiun, his friend, and Gu-hee are watching all this from the side and are relieved that they were out of sight just in time. That night, Gu-hee is lying on her bed when she receives a message from Jiun, who asks her if she is okay. Gu-hee thanks him for his help and worriedly asks him if he is hurt. She laughs when he jokes about how he is immortal and jokingly asks him if he and his friend Kang-min really aren't thugs since they fought so well. He assures her that they are not together and then ends the conversation by wishing her a good night and saying that she should take a rest. Just then she receives another message from Revenge Note that has pictures of zombies while they were wearing those dirty helmets, with the message that her revenge has been complete. Gu-hee is still confused by how all this happens and can't help but wonder if someone is watching over here. She then carefully leaves the room to drink some water and notices her dad sleeping on the couch. Instead of going back to her room, she takes out a frozen potato from the fridge and carefully rubs it on her father's injury. The next morning, she goes to the restaurant, where her parents are happily taking out the warning notices from the food department and chatting about how it is good that the group confessed to fabricating all this against them. Suddenly, a group of girls came running in the restaurant, discussing how Yunwoo has shared on his Instagram that he likes this place the best. The girls take pictures with Gu-hee's parents and order a lot of chicken. Gu-hee is sitting alone in her room, searching on the internet for some information about Revenge Note, but she finds nothing particular. She is trying to find out who the person behind all this is and is suspicious of Yunwoo and Duck. When she falls asleep that night, she dreams about Jiun saving her from the zombies and is about to kiss him in her sleep, but her mother wakes her up at the last moment. Her mother continuously scolds her for not waking up early or folding her laundry, but Gu-hee just sits there, still dazed from the dream and angry at her mother for waking her up. The next day, she is walking towards the school when Jiun joins her. She mentions how she didn't see him on the bus, to which Jai tells her that he takes a different bus now. She then asks him how he's feeling, guilty that he got into a fight because of her, but Jiun assures her that it is fine since zombies already hated him. Jai suddenly holds her hand, stopping her from moving any further as he points out that she is not wearing her necktie. Gu-hee says that it is fine since she will just sneak in, but Jiun points out that the teacher on duty today is very strict. He gives her necktie to Gu-hee and gets punished instead of her. Later in the class, Gu-hee says to Duck that she thinks she has a heart disease since her heart keeps pounding without any reason. Their discussion is interrupted as they hear some girls talking about how Jiun is very handsome, and in the morning he gave his necktie to some girls. They talk about how Yu-ra already called dibs on Jiun, and she would not like the girl who gets this much attention from her crush. Soon the bell rings, and the girl instantly starts putting on makeup, as it is the class of a famous teacher named Jiun. Soon the teacher comes into the class, and everyone is eager to hear him as he helps the students on his way and talks politely to all of them. The girls are not happy when he gives extra attention to a girl named Yirai, and after he leaves, Dayun purposely throws the water at Yirai in the bathroom. They are convinced that Yirai flirted with their teacher, and this is the only reason she got selected for the essay competition. Gu-hee was in the bathroom stall all along and was shocked to hear the students talking like that about Yirai. Later, she is sitting in the cafe with Duck, who points out that her necktie looks different today, but Gu-hee just dismisses her, saying that there is nothing strange with her necktie. Their attention is diverted towards a group of girls sitting on the table behind them and discussing how a teacher named Yemit is creepy and stares at girls when they are climbing the stairs. They talk about how someone caught Yemit watching adult videos on his computer, and he looks very creepy to be a teacher. Later, Gu-hee is watching TV with her brother and Yunwoo as they watch the first show that Yunwoo acted in. Yunwoo reminds her that she still can't talk about him at school. Gu-hee soon goes back to her room, where she presses Jihoon's necktie and also prepares a gift for him, but she doesn't know how she is going to give it to him. The next day in school, Gu-hee and Duck are watching the basketball game when Duck notices something through her camera and gives it to Gu-hee so she can see too. Gu-hee is shocked to see Yemit sitting with Yirai, who really looks uncomfortable with their teacher's advances. After thinking about it for a while, they come to the conclusion that Yemit must be the teacher who is messing with girls, but no one is talking openly about it because they are all scared. Gu-hee takes out her phone, where she received a message from Revenge Note, and after some hesitance, she writes Yemit's name in it, wanting to save her classmates from the perverted teacher. Later, when Yemit comes to take their class, he announces that they will do an indoor activity since it is very hot outside. He plays a video for the students to watch and sits on the chair to relax, but the video player suddenly starts to play an adult video. Before he can do something about it, the principal, who was taking a round, comes there and is furious to see the situation in the class. She tells Yamit, whose real name is Bayanti, to follow her and bring his laptop with him. He is satisfied that her revenge is done, but her satisfaction doesn't last long. That night, when she was going back to her home, she noticed Yuri leaving in a car with their teacher, Jiun. Suspicious of the situation, she follows them into the underground parking lot and sees Yuri getting harassed by their teacher. He is shocked to find that she took revenge against the wrong person, and Jiun is the teacher who is harassing the students. He is sitting alone in her room, thinking about how Yuri didn't react much after Yamit was fired since she knew that the real culprit was someone else. Is really confused about what she should do now and tries to send another revenge note, but the app starts to display an error. She is really worried about what she can do and keeps calling herself an idiot for making such a rash decision. The next day in their class, a notice is placed on the board in their class that says that they are accepting applications from students interested in writing competitions. They are all very confused to see this since Yuri was already selected for this competition. The girls start to discuss what could be the reason for this, while Guhi just stands there silently, knowing already what caused it. Students discuss how Yuri was too arrogant about this since Mr. Jiun adored her, and it was already strange that she got selected for that competition. Jiun mockingly says that Yuri must be having a hard time right now since all of her efforts to gain a teacher's attention are in vain. She then turns toward Yuri, pretending to be nice, and asks her how she is feeling. Yuri doesn't reply to her and just walks away from there. Jiun and her group keep discussing how Yuri got into Jiun's car last night, and she must be flirting with the teacher because that can be the only reason she got selected for that competition. They are interrupted by Guhi, who says that they are crossing the line and says that they should apologize since they don't even know the whole story. Jiun replies that Yuri is not saying anything, so Guhi shouldn't meddle too. Guhi stays calm as she replies that Jiun is not the type of person they think, and he is double-faced. Jiun gets angry and pushes Gu, saying that she should apologize to their teacher. She suddenly grabs Guhi's hair when she curses the teacher, but Guhi doesn't back down this time and starts pulling at Jiun's hair. The student tries to stop them, but no one lets go, and they finally stop when a teacher comes there and punishes them to sit outside the class with their hands raised in the air. Later, Gu and Duck are sitting in the restaurant, and Gu tells Duck how Jiun is the bad guy from the rumors, and she saw him harassing Yuri. Gu asks Duck to use her skills and finds a way to deal with Jiun, and after some thinking, Duck comes up with an idea. The next day after school, Jiun is sitting in the staff room when he receives a message and starts smiling after reading it. He goes to the activity room, where a girl is sitting with her head lying on the table in front of her. Jiun starts talking to the girl, telling her how she made the right choice, and reporting him will only harm her. He says that no one will believe her, and people will only criticize her for flirting with a teacher. He then sits on the table beside her and asks her to give him her hand, but the girl instead flips him off. He is shocked to see this, and when the girl raises her hand, he stumbles back as he sees that it is not Yuri but Guhi. She tells him that she was the one who sent him a message and recorded everything that he said right now. Jiun quickly snatches her phone from her and deletes the video she just took. Jiun then says that he will forgive her this time, but if she pulls this type of prank on him again, it will not be good for her. He then threatens her to not tell anyone about this, saying that no one will believe her, and then leaves from there. After he leaves, Guhi rushes to Duck, who is hiding behind a counter and is relieved to see that she has everything on the video on her phone. They posted the video online, and soon it spread all around the place. When Jiun comes to work the next day, people avoid getting in the same elevator as him, and students in the corridor keep whispering as he passes them. The students are discussing the video as someone suggests that it might be fabricated, but their argument doesn't last long as Jiun can be clearly seen in the video. When Jiun goes into his office, he sees his video that has been published. Some days later, Duck and Guhi are walking down the stairs as they discuss how Jiun got arrested in the video. When his video went public, some of his previous students came forward and reported him to the police. Gu asks Duck if she thinks Yuri reported him too, to which Duck replies that she must have done that since she looks very happy these days. They notice Yuri, who is standing by the railing, and ask her about the competition. She tells them that she got selected from the pool of applicants and is still participating in the competition. Yuri thanks Guhi for defending her in front of Jiun the other day. Just then, Jiun walks past them, and Guhi asks her if she is not going to apologize to Yuri, which she does reluctantly. Jiun and Kang also join them as Kang says that they shouldn't focus on a guy's personality, learning from this experience, and they all laugh as Duck comments on how he lacks in both. Guhi excuses herself and goes to the library, where Jiun follows her. He asks her if she is the girl in the video, surprising Guhi with how he can recognize her. Jiun replies that she is the only one who is that tiny. Guhi tells him how nervous she was while doing that, but is relieved when Jiun says that she was very cool. Remembering something, Guhi asks him to wait as she rushes somewhere and comes back with his necktie packed in a paper bag. She gives it to him, saying that she also packed a gift for him. After she leaves, Jiun opens the bag and is surprised to see a coupon for the chicken shop. In the evening, Guhi is sitting in Duck's house as they have 3 laptops open in front of them. On Duck's clue, they start typing violently as Duck urges Gu-hee to search the keywords related to Astro, wanting them to make a new trend as soon as their new album is released. While doing that, Gu-hee asks Duck if she likes sauce marinated crabs since she saw her mother cooking them right now. Gu-hee is surprised when Duck replies that her mother is cooking that for Yoon-woo. She goes out of the room and finds Duck's parents standing in the kitchen as her mother keeps scolding her father, asking him to stream the new Astro song. She repeatedly reminds him to express mail the food she is making for Yoon-woo and comments on how Yoon will be happy eating her food. Duck's father comments on how he gets crazy every time this group makes a comeback. In his annoyance, he pronounces Astro's name wrong and gets scolded by his wife. The next day in school, Gu-hee stands at the side as she watches all the girl fans girling over Astro and discussing whose photo cards they got from the albums they have purchased. Duck shows them Yoon-woo's 10 photo cards that she got from all the 10 albums she has purchased. Kang comes there and playfully snatches the card from her hand, but it only makes him the target of the fangirl's rage. In the evening, the chicken restaurant is filled with local and foreign fans of Astro, as it was added to the fan tour list. Later, after the closing time, when there are no customers in the place, Gu-hee and Duck are sitting there when Duck says that she doesn't care about Yoon-woo's set anymore as she can't eat more. Gu-hee adds that she should stop eating, to which Duck dejectedly asks her if Yoon-woo really only orders deliveries and hasn't visited the restaurant in a while. Gu-hee says that he is not going to come if she keeps sitting here like that, while thinking to herself that Yoon-woo is so busy these days to come here, so technically she is not lying. There is another gathering of Astro's fangirls in their restaurant, where they discuss their goals for the group's comeback, and Duck sells the dolls of Yoon-woo that she has handmade. Later in the school gym, Duck is remembering how she sells her dolls and shares with Gu-hee that she is planning to follow Astro on their Asia tour. Just then, a girl from the side screams that Yoon-woo was involved in a scandal. Duck quickly takes out her phone to see the news. Gu leans over to see the article and is shocked to see pictures of Yoon-woo hugging her, but thankfully, her face is not clear in the picture. Duck is sure that this is some conspiracy, since if it were something serious, Dispatch must have revealed it first, but she is still planning to teach the girl a lesson if she finds her somewhere. Later, Gu-hee is staring at the article at her home when she receives a call from Yoon-woo. She asks him if he is alright, worried that he got into trouble because of her. Yoon-woo assures her that everything is fine and says that he will handle it, so she doesn't have to do anything about it. He hangs up the phone and looks out the window in his hotel room. Soon, Yoon-woo's manager comes in and talks to some reporters on the phone about the article they had published. After he hangs up the call, he turns toward Yoon-woo, wanting to know how the girl is, but Yoon refuses to tell him anything about the girl. Yoon-woo asks him to trust his decision and refuses when his manager suggests that they should hold a press conference with the girl. The manager says that other members will suffer because of him, but Yoon-woo still doesn't cave in, thinking about how he can't expose Gu-hee. He remembers how she used to make his mother laugh when she was very sick. Gu-hee was the one who helped him whenever he was left alone in the school because his mother was sick, so there is no way that he can expose her. Meanwhile, Jiun and Kang order food from Gu-hee's chicken restaurant, and when she comes to deliver their food, they force her to eat with them. Duck and her mother are sitting in an internet cafe, ready to book their tickets for Astro's concert, but when the tickets are open, all the tickets get sold out before they can have a chance to book one. Duck's mother is furious with her, so she decides to go to Gu-hee's house to avoid her mother's wrath. There, she accidentally bumps into Gu-hee's brother. She is surprised to see that Gu's brother is this handsome when Gu always talks about how he is an idiot. He soon leaves after giving her their family photo album, so she has something to keep busy until Gu joins her. Duck is going through all the pictures, commenting on how the siblings were very cute in this childhood, when she notices a picture that leaves her shocked. And that's how the first part of this drama ends. Well guys, if you liked this video and you want a second part, comment below with the word part 2. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and like the video. But most important, leave a comment. Until the next video,